check, check, check. All right, start with two int arrays A and B of any length. Return how many of the arrays have 1 as their first element. Okay, so I'm gonna do int count equals 0. For a length Start with two int arrays, A and B, each length 2. Consider the sum of the values in each array. Return the array which has the largest sum. In event of a tie, return A. Alright, this one's a little bit longer than all the ones up until then, pretty much. Okay. Okay. If nice. So what I did on that is I initialized 4 different ints according to the indexes in each array. And then I initialized an int for the sum of each array, which added up the ints that I initialized before that. And then once I had the sums of each array, I did an if statement to see if the B array was bigger than the A array. And if it is, then we're going to return B. Otherwise, whether if A is larger than B, then we're going to return A, or even if they're tied, then we're going to return A. So that's why I set it up like that. Given an array of ints of even length, return a new array length 2 containing the middle 2 elements from the original array. The original array will be length 2 or more. Okay, so if nums length is bigger than 2, or no, if nums length equals 2, we're gonna do the return a new array length 2 containing the middle 2 element. We're just gonna return nums. Let's see here. Int um I don't remember how to do this stuff. Oh yeah. Given two int arrays each length to return a new array length 4 containing all their elements. Given an array of ints, swap the first and last elements in the array, return the modified array. The array length will be at least 1. Nice. So what I did is I initialized an empty int array called result. That's the same length as the original array called nums. And then I initialized an int called first, which is it equals the last digit in the nums array, and then an int called last, which is the first digit in the nums array. And then I did a for loop here that made all of the indexes in the new array equal the indexes in the old array, except for the first and last digit. And then down here, I made the new array the first digit equal the last digit of the original array. And then on this line, I made the last digit in the result array to equal the first digit of the first array. And then after it went through all of that, then I returned the new array. Given an array of ints of odd length, return a new array length 3 containing the elements from the middle of the array. The array length will be at least 3. Okay, thanks. Forget how to do this one. Read of it. Okay, so let me think. int num needed, I don't know what to call it, equals nums dot length divided by 2. So int mid num equals return new int array Sweet. Oh. Okay, so to explain that one, I did int, I initialized an int called midnum, and I equaled that to the length of the nums array divided by 2, because that's going to give me the number, which, like, if I use that number for the index of the array, it's going to give me the middle number. And then on the first num, that's the one before the middle number, so that's why I subtracted 1. And then the last num is the one after the middle number, so I added num. And then I returned a new int array with num's first num, and then num's mid num, and then num's last num. Okay, given an array of ints of odd length, look at the first, last, and middle values in the array and return the largest. The array length will be at least 1. Okay, so int first num equals nums 0. Int last num equals nums length -1. And then int mid num equals nums dot length divided by 2. Okay, so we're gonna do if first num is greater than last num and first num is greater than mid num, return first num. If last num is greater than mid num, return last num, return mid num. I don't know what I did wrong here. Oh, I know what I did. There we go. So I just forgot to put what I had here as the index of the nums array. So what I did was I initialized an int first num, which gives us the first number of the nums array, then the last number of the nums array, and then the mid number of the nums array. And then I did an if statement to see if first num was greater than both the last num and the mid num. And if it is, then it's going to return the first num. And if it's not, then that means that the first num is out, and now it's between last num and mid num. So I'm going to check if last num is greater than mid num. If it is, we're going to return last num. And if that's not, then we're going to return mid num. But I wonder if ChatGPT has a better way of doing it. So I'm gonna check. See how ChatGPT does it. First num, same thing I did. Okay. Int max equals first. If mid is greater than max, max equals middle. If last is greater than max, max equals last. Okay. I mean, that's another way to do it. I like the way I did it better, though. To me, it's more clear. Okay. Given an int array of any length, return a new array of its first two elements. If the array is smaller than 2, use whatever elements are present. Okay. And what if the array has nothing in it, though? Let's see here. If nums dot length is less than 2, return nums return new int array nums 0 nums 1. With nums. Nice. All right, so to explain that one, I did if num's length is less than 2 first, because if I don't do that first and I just do this and there's nothing there, or there's only one index, then I'm gonna have like an out of bounds exception. So I'm checking to see if it's less than 2, and then if it is, I'm gonna just return whatever nums is. And then if it's 2 or more, then we're gonna return the first 2 indexes of nums as a new int. All right, we'll say that a 1 immediately followed by a 3 in an array is an unlucky 1. Return true if the given array contains an unlucky 1 in the first 2 or last 2 positions in the array. All right, I don't think I'm gonna do like, I'm gonna do if statement if nums 0 equals 1 and nums 1 equals 3. Or nums nums dot length minus 2 equals 1, and nums dot length minus 1 equals 3. Return true. Return false. So I got some of these test cases wrong, and we're gonna try to figure out what the problem is. What? Turn true in the given, or if the given array contains an unlucky one in the first two or last two. Oh. Oh man. All right. No. Wait. Okay. If nums dot length is less than 2, we're gonna return false. Okay. If nums dot length let me think. Equals 2. We're gonna do this. Okay, we're gonna do if numbers one. Ah, why is that one false though? I don't understand why this one's false. It says in the first two positions or the last two positions. Doesn't make sense. See what ChatGPT does. Wait, I'm gonna see. Less than 2, return false. So that's what I did here. I'm gonna just see if this works, because I feel like what I did was right. Pretty much the same thing I did. See, it's still getting it wrong. If it's in the middle of the array, it doesn't count. All right, let's see if this one works. That's weird that that's how that works. See, that one doesn't even work either. I wonder if there's something wrong with this test case. Hey, what's up, Dev? Pretty good, man. What's up, India? Well, that one worked. Gemini is better. Why do you think Gemini is better? I don't know. I always use ChatGPT. All right, this one. I'm not using ChatGPT too much doing this, but for that one I had to, because for some reason that one test case was like incorrect the whole time. Why use ChatGPT? It's so bad most of the times. It works out fairly well for me. I mean, I'm not using it to like solve everything for me. I was just trying to figure something out on this problem because I was getting all the test cases right except for one of them. So let me look through this logic. So if n is greater than or equal to 2, I'm gonna check to see. Return true. So that's the first two. If n is greater than or equal to 3 and nums 1 equals turn true if n is greater than or equal to 2, if n I don't understand what I did wrong, to be honest. Let me see how this is different from what I had. So, nums length. This is a stupid one. The instructions weren't very clear. This one's so stupid. Check the last 2 positions. I mean, the way ChatGPT showed me, it's like more simple than the way I did it, but I just didn't know that that's how it worked. I didn't know that one test case was gonna go. I guess it was supposed to be false. Thought you had to check the last 2. What's the explanation here? Where previous code went wrong. Previous logic was checking nums n minus 3 equals 1 as part of the last 2 positions check. In this array, n equals 5, so equals 2, and this is the middle of the array, not the last 2. We should only look at the first 2 positions, 0 and 1, 1 and 2, if the array has greater than or equal to 3 elements. And the last 2 positions, that's it, no extra check. Stupid, dude. This says the last 2 positions, so I feel like I did that right. It makes no sense. Whatever, I'm moving on to the next one. Alright, given 2 int arrays A and B, return a new array length 2 containing as much as will fit the elements from a followed by elements from B. The arrays may be any length, including 0, but there will be 2 or more elements available between the 2 arrays. Huh? Oh, I see what they're doing. This is gonna be annoying. Okay, so there will be 2 or more elements available between the arrays. Oh, it's something like concat basically with 2 items in result, I think. What's up, Darian? What's up, Rena Hamid? Okay, if a length is less than 1, nice, got it all correct. So to explain that one, I was checking to see if the A array was empty first to avoid like out of bounds exception rules. So if A was empty, then that means that there would be at least 2 digits in the B array. So I just returned a new int with the first 2 digits of the B array. And then if the length of the A array is 1, then we're going to use the first digit, or we're going to use the only digit of 1, which is 0. and then we're going to use the first digit of B, which is also 0. And then if the length of A is greater than 1, then we're just going to do the first 2 digits of A down here. All right. This is the last problem in this array 1 section. Okay, given two int arrays A and B of any length, return a new array with the first element of each array. If either array is length 0, ignore that array. Of each array. Okay, so if a dot length equals 0, let me think how I want to do this. Well, I don't know what happens if they're both 0. I don't know if that's an option. See, if they're both 0, what are you supposed to do? Nice. So I wonder if ChatGPT did it that way. Let's see if there's like an easier way to do it. Simpler way. Wait. Yeah. You gotta check to see if both of them are empty and then return a new empty array. They did int size equals 0 if a dot length is greater than 0, size plus plus. if a dot length is greater than 0, this is a really weird way to do it, I feel like. This, if a dot length is greater than 0, result index equals a index. You're adding to the index. Oh, I see. They could have just done 1 there. Well, I see why they did that. Dude, that's a crazy way. I mean, makes sense, but I wouldn't have thought to do it that way. That's kind of complicated. All right, well, that's the end of array 1. So, let's see here. So it looks like tomorrow I'm going to be doing logic 1. The squirrels get together for a party. They like to have cigars. A squirrel party is successful when the number of cigars is between 40 and 60 inclusive, unless it is the weekend, in which case there is no upper bound on the number of cigars. Return true if the party with the given values is successful, or false otherwise. Okay. Well, that's it for tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the stream, please subscribe to my channel. If you want to continue watching these streams, I try to do them every night during the week, so I'll be back again tomorrow night doing some of these problems. So like I said, please subscribe to my channel so we can keep in touch and you can keep checking out my stream.